The Truth Girls.
Hi everyone. So let's talk about the Zika virus. WHO says Zika virus is spreading explosively. Level of alarm is extremely high. So there's an outbreak of the Zika virus in Brazil right now. The virus usually just causes sort of flu-like symptoms in adults and maybe a rash. But the problem is that it seems to be linked to a steep increase in cases of microcephaly in babies born to mothers who were infected while they were pregnant. Microcephaly is basically when the baby has a very small head and restricted brain development. There's a bit of a panic going on right now about Zika virus. One of the reactions has been an advisory to women to not have any more children for the time being in affected areas. So, some people might feel a bit paranoid about this. I mean, is this really happening, or do they just not want women to have children? Is this like a depopulationist thing? Also, I noticed in this article from the Washington Post, they mentioned that they'll be making a vaccine. So maybe it's a big pharma conspiracy. Is Zika as bad as we fear? Science is under scrutiny as WHO mobilizes. Okay, the weird thing is that microcephaly was apparently quite rare in Brazil up until just recently when the Zika virus appeared. It says here in 2014 only about 150 cases were reported in Brazil in a year, a surprisingly small amount for a large country with nearly 3 million births a year. The United States, with about 4 million births a year, has an estimated 2,500 cases of microcephaly a year, said Margaret Honing, an epidemiologist at the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Okay, this is really weird. Do you really have 2,500 cases of microcephaly in the U.S. per year? Well, if you look at other statistics, it seems that the incidence is a lot lower. Here's one from rightdiagnosis.com. It says about 1 per 10,000 births, 407 per year. So, that's far from 2,500. So I'm not sure how they account for those numbers. Okay, on Wednesday, Brazilian Health Ministry officials said they had done a more intense analysis of more than 700 of the suspected cases in Brazil of microcephaly, confirming 270 cases and ruling out 462 others. So it's possible that the increase is not as steep as it's been made out to be, but going from 150 to 270 cases is still an increase. The CDC has another possible explanation, which is that because it was really not that much reported at all before, and they weren't routinely taking head measurements, and it's possible that a lot of mild cases of microcephaly were going completely unreported. So it's possible that since they only started measuring and reporting this last year, that's why they're getting all of a sudden this explosion of microcephaly cases. Or the other possibility would be that actually is a really steep increase, and they're just trying to do damage control now to make sure that people don't panic. I think it's possible that it's sort of a combination of the two, that there's an increased risk like there is for other diseases. Cytomegalovirus is another one that apparently can also increase the risk of microcephaly. So there could be an increased risk, but I think also it's probably to do with inflated statistics because of there not being reporting before, and because of mild cases being reported now, and because they're really looking for it, whereas before they weren't. And if a lot of the cases that they more thoroughly investigated were then found to actually not be microcephaly, so there might have been a lot of over-reporting going on. In any case, we're going to keep an eye out for this, and hopefully they'll get their mosquitoes under control and get the Zika virus under control. Or maybe the Zika virus is totally out of control and we're going to have an epidemic of microcephaly all over the Americas. Or not. As we say in Quebec, pas de panique, tabarnak. Well, let me know what you think, and thanks for listening to me, and thanks for giving me a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.